Okay, now we're back and we can do our faceplate for this shelving unit. And as I said before, we could draw it out to the side here. That's not the only way that you can do it. And doing this, we're mainly just doing this for the purpose of making a two-dimensional drawing. When it comes to extruding and things like that, I probably want to go ahead and make a separate file for my faceplate. And we'll kind of toy around with that to see, you know, how far we can take it. So, to make my faceplate for my cabinets, I need to know my top, you know, my all-around measurements. I'm going to go ahead and add some measurements so that I can see everything plain and simple. So I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, and I want to do align dimensions. Okay, and overall, I'm going to measure from here to here. Okay, put an overall dimension out here a little bit, and then I'm going to go from here, and actually I need to go ahead and put a reference line on the middle of this one, because when I do the dimensioning, it will not automatically snap to the middle of the shelf. So right there. So now I'm going to dimension to that line here, to there, and then to there. So those are my more detailed dimensions, and I did not take that where it was supposed to go. There we go. Alright, so that gives me my complete dimensions so that I can make my faceplate and I can place all the components where they're supposed to be. And I want to put an overall dimension up top as well. Get the correct line to highlight there. Okay, didn't quite get the right line, but that's okay. We can zoom in and fix that. Alright, so now we're 10 feet, 6 feet, and then there's our shelving division right there. Now we need our vertical shelves dimensioned out horizontally. And I'm going to place some more reference lines because I want to hit the middle of these shelves when I do the measuring. So we'll just kind of nudge it. Right now it should be in the middle. That's a 3/4 inch piece of wood here, and then that's marking 3/8 from here to here. So that I know that's correct. And let me see, maybe if I get a little closer. I'm just going to do it just like this, just like I did that one. Alright, so that gives me the ability to dimension to the centers of each one of those. So I'll start at the end, dimension that one, dimension that one, dimension that one, dimension that one, and we'll just take it all the way to the end, stuff like that. Alright, so that gives me the measurement from the end to the center, to the center, to the center, to the center, and then we're going to start with model lines. Okay, and obviously I'm just going to go right off of that line right there, and I'm going to take it out 10 feet, and then 6 feet down. So it's almost just like when I was modeling the shelving unit itself. There's just going to be some different offsets to this right there. Okay, so now the material that I'm going to use for my faceplate is going to be some 1x2s. So they actually measure, the nominal measurement is 3/4 inch by 1.5 inch. All right, and I'm going to have the 1.5 inch side of those timbers facing me, facing the user. Okay, so I'm going to offset. My offset's going to be 1.5 inches, and then I just go around and start decorating here. Okay, and I can go back and clean up my corners. Okay, and structurally, of course, I want, just like I built my shelving unit, I want to put the horizontal pieces on top of the vertical pieces, and then down here at the bottom Now, of course, I could do this. It's not a problem with that, but I would rather do this. Have the vertical shelves. I'm going to extend that one. There we go. And then I want to let's see here. Okay, and then I want to make this my trim. Let me trim that line. There we go. So there you can see how the shelf or the vertical support or the vertical beams are resting on top of the horizontal beams. So I'm going to extend to here, there, and then I'm going to use this as a cut plane and cut that. Alright, now what I'm going to do is vertical member here is at 2 3/8 inches over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and that's to the center, that's from the end to the center. So I'm going to use that end line as my reference line, and I'm going to, I could either copy it or I could offset it. So I'll offset it 2 3/8 inches. So that's 2 foot. Now I'm reading that incorrectly. Now it is 3/8 inches. 2 foot 0 and 3/8 inches. 3-8. It doesn't like the way I entered that. Do it like this. Oh, I see. I've got double inch marks. All right, that's better. Okay, so from this end, if I can get it to bounce over there. There we go. All right, so that is 2 3/8. Now with that line, what I'll do to that one is I'll offset again, but I'm going to offset it half of 1.5 inch because that was the center of that 1.5 inch beam. So the center of that 1.5 inch beam would be at 3/4 inches. And I'm going to offset to both sides. Offset here, offset there. Okay, and I'm going to do some cleaning up here. Trim 2, cut that one. Trim 2, cut that one. Trim 2. Let's do this. We're going to put a temporary model line, and this is just for the sake of placement. Okay, so right there, right dead center. Okay, my next one is 2 feet 0 and 1/32 inches. So I'm going to copy it. And actually, I'm going to offset it. That'll be easier. No, I'm going to copy it. I'm sorry. Okay, so I copy everything, including that center point right there. All right, and then I'll click enter to select that whole thing. I'm going to use that center mark as my reference point. Okay, so basically what I'm doing as I'm dragging this, I'm actually measuring according to that center point right there. And I said that was 2 feet 0, and I believe that said 3/8 inches. No, 1/32. That would have been wrong. Okay, so back in here, 1/32 inches. All right, so it placed it perfectly. Now, if I were to move this, now of course I want to put a beam right there as well. Matter of fact, I think I'll go ahead and do that first. Okay. Now here, this will be pretty easy because what I can do is I can just use this as my guide, and I want my horizontal faceplate here. I want it to come even with the top of that shelf right there. Okay. Coming even with the top of that shelf. Now I do recognize one little mistake I've made, but it's no big deal. We'll go back and fix that. Okay, but we're going to put that horizontal beam here, the horizontal piece of the faceplate, to where it's flush with the very top of that shelf. So it's real simple to do that. Model line. Okay, and then you can see it's giving me the guides to make sure I get that correct. Okay, and then I just draw, click to start, and then click to execute. Click to start, click to end. Now I'm going to offset that 1.5 on dash 1 or 1 space. I made when I was creating this bottom one here, I think I made it, is I really want to line it also up with the top lip of this bottom shelf. And that really depends too how I'm going to set this thing on the floor. If I'm going to set it on the floor directly like this, then I can't. But if I am going to have like a toe space, a toe kick space, and have this risen up off the floor about 3 inches, then I could actually make this level with that. Okay, but I think what I'm going to do, because I'm going to set this shelving unit straight onto the floor, it's not going to have the toe kick space. I'm actually going to trim this down to 3/4 of an inch. This bottom beam is going to be 3/4 of an inch, and it's something I would probably do on a planer mill, and make it to where basically where it matches this right here and just gives it a beautiful finish. So first thing I'm going to do is figure out where I'm at with this. So I'm going to use a reference line, and if I drag, let's see, start here, go this way. Okay, so now I can see kind of where I need to do my trimming. That represents the very top, so all I have to do, extend all these right to that reference line. I think the rest of them will probably follow suit. Yep. Alright. And then I'm going to draw a horizontal line, model line, from here all the way across to here. Now I'm going to just do some picking and deleting. I might just have to do it once, and I did. So now I fixed that. So now the top of this faceplate is going to be flush with the top of this bottom part of the shelf that's going to sit directly on the floor. Okay. Now this faceplate is still made out of the same material. I just milled it down to, if in the shop I would mill it down to 3/4 of an inch, so it'll fit right up over that shelf, and then it'll give it a beautiful finish. It'll hide the plywood, the little plywood layers. Okay, so that is basically the faceplate. So you can use the same process for any type of faceplate that you're making. Just remember, some of the core concepts there of creating this to where basically it's flush on each end. It's flush with the end of the shelf. The middle horizontal pieces go in the middle of these shelves, so it's basically covering and overlapping on either side. On the and of course it's also flush at the very top up here as well, and then down at the bottom here we want to cover up that as well, that exposed plywood. So we just milled a piece of wood that's going to fit on the faceplate and cover that up, and it'll all be a nice beautiful finish. It can all be stained, you can paint it, but definitely if you stain it you want to be able to hide all of the millwork, all the plywood cuts. But that's it. Good luck.